back to the channel. This is Crimson, and for the final precon, Wind. Now this is the element that I will most likely be playing the most. It is the one that feels most like Big Blue. If you're a Magic player, you understand what that means. Blue is a very control-heavy oriented color, and we're going to go through this and take a look. Now the precon is a little bit more jumbled. I think this precon's trying to do too much. So is the precon itself very good? Not really. I definitely think Earth is the better precon. But it is giving you a good idea of what you're going to see throughout the Wind cards. So let's just jump right into it. First, we'll start with the avatar here. Avatar of Wind. Health, 1 power, tap, play, draw site. Once per turn, if you are on a wind site, you may fly to a nearby site. This allows this avatar to have a lot of mobility. Being able to move diagonally is very, very good. And she can move and still tap to play a site or draw a site. Very strong mechanic there. Very, very good avatar. Alright, Cloud City is a unique site. 2 threshold. Well, once during your turn, you may move this city to an adjacent void. I haven't got to really use this ability that often, but I can definitely say this is a good ability. This allows mobility on this site a lot more than you think, especially in the early games, or the early turns of the game. So, yeah, pretty good site. Bottomless Pit is a universal, unaligned site. Only airborne minions can traverse the site. Yeah, that's really good. That doesn't offer any threshold, but it is very good. And also elite, so you can have 2 of them in play. So you can really cut off 2 modes of access. Card. Okay, the Observatory, an elite site with Genesis. Look at the top 3 cards of your spellbook and put them back in any order. Now they do all have to go back to the top of the deck, which is one of the reasons why you probably won't see this very often in my other decks or in my constructed style decks. Because, yeah, it lets me dig a little, but doesn't let me dig past. So not something that I'm really keen on. Mountain Pass. Ground minions cannot traverse this pass if there is one here already. This is really good. Another way to really bottleneck or slow down your opponent's momentum towards your lands. Pretty good site. Updraft Ridge. Genesis. Nearby airborne minions gain +2 movement until end turn. Okay, I have not played a just straight up airborne deck. I mean, this seems like it would be good. Unfortunately, I don't have enough playtest experience with it to really tell you if it's worth the site slot, or if you would be better served with another site that can do more, or one of the basic sites. So the basics for Wind is when they come into play, they generate 1 mana till end of turn. They are towers. Very good at getting some bigger units ahead of curve. I do really like this. I will say water probably has the best basic type for control, and earth has the best basic type for aggro. So this is kind of just in the middle, although I do very much like the tower mechanic. Okay, Devil's Egg costs 3. At the start of your turn, the controller of the site this egg is on loses 2 life. So you throw it on a minion, you rush it over to their site, pop it. Try to keep the minion alive if you can. Maybe the minion has stealth, so you can get it over there and just let this just seep damage away from your opponent. It's elite, so you can run 2 of them. Yes, this is considered direct damage, therefore it will kill a Death's Door avatar. Okay. Next one is a unique relic. Doomsday Device costs 4. Comes into play with 3 counters. At the end of your turn, remove a counter. If there are no counters, it detonates, dealing splash damage. If it deals no damage, it deals no damage to Submerge, because obviously they don't take anything from things that happen above the site. Dead Center, that's 20 damage. If you can run this over to their avatar or do like a teleport before this pops, yeah, you're gonna put their avatar right on Death's Door. In fact, I have a deck in mind that will be thinking about this. If they're and then it just does a ton of damage everywhere else too. Very, very good card, but very, very dangerous. Use at your own risk. Nightmare. So 7 threshold, 5 power, Void Walk. When this Nightmare traverses a location, other nearby minions, except demon spirits and undead, move 1 step away. So, as he traverses a location, which means to move off of it, he will make everything run away from him. It's very good. It is quite good. Plus the Void Walk makes it really nice. You can put it in on the edge of the map and then start messing up their lines. Very good card. 7, 0 power, Spellcaster, Genesis, draw 3 cards. Card's amazing. This is a staple. If you're playing Win, you're playing one of these in every Win deck. At some point later in the game, you're going to need cards. And boom. I'll pay 7 all day long for 3. And a Spellcaster to boot. A Nimbus Gen. 6 for 3 power. Airborne Spellcaster. Discard a card, deal 3 damage to a nearby avatar or minion. Very good card at being able to kill Death's Door avatars. With the Airborne, he can travel in a diagonal path. And you can straight up just discard a spell. Get that 3 damage on there and take out an avatar at Death's Door. Okay, the Hippogrips. 6, 2 threshold, 4, Airborne Haste. If you are playing an Airborne deck, this is a very good card. Haste is always good, and Airborne is super. Quite a good card in the right deck. Clean Up Monster. Cost 5 for 4. Summon this minion. Very good. This is one of the few minions that I'm like, okay, well, maybe the Screaming Skull isn't so bad. I would pay 7 for a 4 attack minion that can be deployed anywhere with haste. Because it can kill an avatar in Death's Door. It's not a bad card. Also, it can put a lot of pressure on their back line. Very good card. Pegasus costs 3 for 3. Airborne. Pretty basic. If you're playing an Airborne deck, you're going to be running these as one of your staple creatures. Also, as always, you see that beautiful little M symbol. Oh, it's a Melissa art. Her art is just phenomenal. Peregrine Apparition. 3 for 1. Airborne Haste Void Walk. Apparition moves freely in the realm. This is actually a very good card because of how it move freely in the realm. Allows it to traverse great distances and move. With it being airborne and Void Walk. I mean, it's a good card. If you're playing an airborne deck, probably running this. If you're playing a Voidwalk deck, maybe running this. Um, it will be a good way to king the avatar once they're at death's door. Headless Haunt. Cost 3 for 4 attack. Voidwalk. At the start of your turn, teleport this minion to a random location. So, a lot of RNG. It's okay. I've won a game with it. I've lost a game. Here we go. The Grim Reaper. Cost 3 with 0 power. Immortal. Voidwalk. Summon this Reaper to a random location. When it shares a location with another minion, remove both from the game entirely. So, unfortunately, you do remove the Reaper from the game, which means you can't do a lot of recurring shenanigans or reanimator shenanigans to keep it back up. The other downside is it is a random location. And it is the moment it shares a location with another. So you don't have a chance to move, say it lands on one of your minion spots. You don't have a chance to move that minion away. It's not at the end of turn. So as soon as he's in the same location as another minion, boom, they're gone. Apprentice Wizard. Okay. One of my favorite win cards here. Cost 3. You get a 1 body, spellcaster body, and you draw a card. You replace the card. Wonderful, wonderful card. I like cantrips, and this is just a great cantrip. Steam Pixie. 1 for 1, airborne ranged 1. These pixies are immune to minions with power greater than power of 4 or greater. Honestly, these aren't bad. If you're running an airborne deck, this is a good start right here. You get ranged, you get airborne. Having those 2 keywords on the same card is really good because you're able to take out or ping a lot of stuff from a distance and still being able to have the mobility that airborne gives them. No leopard. It's a Savannah line, 1 for 2. There may be a beast deck in the works. Haven't seen enough cards with got an option yet, but if there is, I would like to definitely see some. Cloud Spirit, 2 for 2, airborne, movement 2. I think I can move 3 sites a turn. He is kind of weak at a 2 for 2, but honestly, the ability to maneuver in the map, pretty good. If you give him any pumps, it's also still very good. Stealth, or Dread of the Night, 2 for 3 with stealth. Means you're gonna at least be able to get the first attack off on her with them. I'm still on the fence with Night Archer, 2 for 1. Range 2. At the end of the turn, this archer may move to an adjacent site. This is by far the best archer in the game. This thing is sick, especially if you can power. Cards like the King with Alliances, Bannerman, all those guys' power. He can literally shoot from your back line to their front line. That is insane. That is so good. And he gets free movement on top of that, so he can shoot and move. Very good archer. Best archer in the game. Midnight Rogue, 2 for 2. Lethal Stealth. This is a stealth minion I can find. Protected from direct damage right off the bat. And she can move into position and take out a very key enemy. Something like, you know, an amoeba or Udine. There's a lot of minions that this Taps out. Yeah, you're gonna lose her too. But honestly, 2 for a kill card they have to set up is not bad. Spectral Stalker, 2 for 3 with Void Walk. This is pretty much your stable Void Walk character. But you're gonna start your Void Walk deck. And it's good. It's relatively low cost for its stats. Fire Lich. Cost 2 for 3, ranged 1, spellcaster power bound. Unlike the previous one, where we have the same power to or cost to power ratio, downside to this one is tower bound. Only go to towers. Now, it does have the range 1, and it is a spellcaster. I don't know if this is going to be decent. This would require a more Pacific. Let's put it that way. Okay, let's look at some of the spells. Thunderbolt, cost 1. This Thunderbolt deals 3 damage to an avatar or minion anywhere in the realm. Excess damage is dealt to the site the target is on. So it costs 1 for 3 damage. So it's a lightning. It's a bolt. If there's any leftover damage, that damage will go to the site. Very good bolt. The only downside is it's not quick, and that you can't target submerged enemies with it. Unfortunately, you'll see that there's not a lot anybody can do against submerged enemies. It's rather disappointing. Okay. Blink. Cost 2. Ally teleports to a site near them. Art. Yeah, it's okay. It's pretty much says pay to move a unit in a I mean, you can move them diagonally, so you get a little bit more movement than you would normally, and then draw a card, replace itself cantrip. It's okay. I wish it was a little cheaper. I don't mind the threshold being 2, but 2 costs is a little expensive. Okay, Chain Lightning. Cost 2 threshold. This lightning deals 3 damage to an avatar minion near your spellcaster. You may pay the mana cost again to repeat the effect any number of times. Starting point must be at the last target, and it would target another avatar or minion. So you can't just target the Hippogriff and hit him again and again, hit him 3 times. No, it's actually got to bounce around. And you could go Hippogriff, hit the Nightmare, then come back to the Hippogriff. So it doesn't say you can't go back to the target, but you can't just boom, 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 3 there. Or you can't go 1, 2, 2, but you could go 1, 2, 1. So be mindful of that. But for 2, now you're gonna end up paying 6 altogether. Usually you pay 6 when you play the card. Waypoint Portal. 2 locations are adjacent for movement until end of turn. Now it does say locations, not sites. So I'm not sure if location requires a site to be there. So, but as the way I'm reading this, a location is a spot on the map. Site is a site on that location. But if it is a site, they're using the word site or location as a form of the site, then it's pretty bad. I don't think it's very good because you got to tap to move. And you can't attack through it. But if this can be targets for voids, void sites, then Voidwalker decks will definitely want to be. At Ball Lightning costs 4 to Threshold. Spellcaster launches this ball in a cardinal direction. Deals 6 damage to the first avatar or minion it hits. Excess damage carries on to whatever it hits next, here or on following sites. Now, be aware that this can hit your minions or your avatar if you're casting it from a minion. So you could set up a thing where like maybe they put a couple of your guys to sleep and you can get 4 damage in on this and then roll it over to your sleeping characters. Pretty good. It is very good, but just be mindful that if you have a board full of creatures, you're probably going to whack a couple. Thunderstorm costs 4 to Threshold. Conjure at the intersection of 4 locations at which one is a wind site. It play with 3 counters on it. At the end of your turn, remove a counter. This Thunderstorm deals 3 damage to an enemy on an affected site. Excess damage is dealt to the site the target is on. When this Thunderstorm has no counters on it, dispel it. So, it's this in an aura form. Downside. They move their characters out of the location, and you have a character in that location, Thunderstorm's going to hit your character. Because it does... Or no, it's not going to hit your character. I'm sorry. Wrong scenario. If one of the sites is yours, because one site needs to be a wind site, so if one of those sites is yours, and they move 1 power minions or the frogs over to that site, you have to use this ability. I don't think it at the end of turn remove a counter. It's not a May ability. If the only legal targets are frogs, you're hitting yourself in the face for 3. Frogs have 0 power, so all excess damage is going through. That's damage. I have actually lost a game because somebody moved a bunch of footmen over and everything out, and my only valid targets were footmen. So I was taking 2 damage from my own Thunderstorm. It was rough. But I think even with that, it is a very strong card. Very fun to play with. Well, it looks like that is it for the wind deck. A little quicker this time. We've gotten more familiar with the cards, more familiar with the rules, so we don't have to explain every little thing anymore. So that is nice. They do have a new table, and there is a bunch of new cards on this table. So make sure you check out the new table and take a look at all the new cards. We do have the correct frogs now, and we do have a token for Firebolts in here, so we know what Firebolts does. Super helpful. Thank you guys so much for doing that and for going to the Discord and asking about that. Without that, we probably wouldn't have got this token, and we would have still had a lot more confusion on how the Firebolts work. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.